right. Episode 60. All right. I'm not going to butcher the title. I did it once in the pre-show. So yeah, so we're just doing, that's a pretty chill episode today. We're going to talk about Sea Gump, our fabled IPA. Maybe, talk a little bit more about, holiday season, what we got coming up. And chill, drink, chat, have some fun. The 60th episode.
You'll notice a distinct lack of Jason tonight. Jason was not feeling super hot, so I mean he is super hot, but he wasn't feeling super hot, so he's out on sick leave. We don't have PTO for the show though, so hopefully he's.
So he's got to do a double episode next week.
Yeah. we don't have PTO. He's got to make it up somehow. So. Before we get into Sea Gump and everything like that, maybe some show cleanup and announcements. As everyone who's listened to the show the last couple of weeks knows, we've talked about doing a sort of party show next week, and that is still the plan. I have the episode created. I don't have it published out to Facebook yet because they don't let me publish more than a week out in advance for live shows for whatever reason. So yeah, that's super annoying, but we're going to be slamming seltzer all night, hard seltzer. We're going to have some homebrewers on. We're going to have some past guests on. I might even get Shayna on. Maybe I'll get my mom on.
Whoa.
Yeah. She's been a fan in the past, so I don't know. We'll see. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to probably rotate out through, guests the entire night and just kind of see who shows up. So we're kind of starting to get some stuff scheduled. Hey, Patrick, thanks for watching. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to talk, beer and brewing and catch up, with old friends, and it'll be a nice Thanksgiving show, even if it is just a touch early for the holiday.
Yeah. Thanksgiving Michigan Brews style.
Yeah. We still have some guests lined up for December. I couldn't remember what month was coming after November for a second. I've only had one beer tonight so far. I know. So I'll have to catch up on the show.
Need more.
Yeah. So it'll be a good time. I hope everybody comes out when the show does come out. If you guys see that Facebook post, please feel free to share it. We would love to interact with people on the show, even if you aren't necessarily on webcam. And maybe, if we have room or whatever, we'll invite people onto the stream live just to hang out and drink too. So who knows? It will be a fun celebration.
I was just going to ask when you're drinking. Just going to ask.
So yeah, I was down at Meyer and they had Celebration out, so I bought a 12-pack of that. It's a holiday staple. What about you guys?
Yeah,
I'm drinking one of my ciders from Husted or Husted.
I don't actually know. So many people say Husted, and I used to say Husted until I heard.
You know what? We
should
just ask one of them to come on the show, talk about apples again.
I grew up in one of my brother's friends' last name was Husted. Not that means they pronounce it the same, but that's why I've always said it that way.
All right.
That could be a good potential guest.
Yeah.
If anybody knows any of the Husted family, let us know.
And I'm drinking just Oaf. It'll show it up here. Good old Two Hearted.
Ooh, good standby.
A staple. You think I have one of those in my my set aside fridge down here?
Your emergency beer pack.
Yeah. I got this little. Occasionally, my work sends out like little vouchers to redeem for gifts on. I think it's like Amazon or something. You can't really choose like a gift card or a dollar amount. You can only choose from like a predetermined like list of things, kind of like some places do for like anniversary gifts.
Oh,
and
that's fun.
One of the choices was this little 12 can / 6 bottle like mini fridge. And the thing's made out of plastic, and I don't actually know how it gets cold because it doesn't make any noise, but it seems to do a decent enough job.
It's Amazon magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of neat. So yeah, that's my office fridge until I convince Shayna to let me get another Keyser back here or something. We'll
Just
see.
gonna run lines up through your wall. Might as well just do that and just get some taps in your room.
I feel like you'd have like a whole pint's worth of beer in your taps at that point, or in your lines, but at that point,
yeah, if not more.
It's not going to be cold. You got to run like a glycol against the lines to keep everything chilled.
There's our topic for the evening.
yeah,
running lines through your walls.
Just pull it up next to your electric, right?
Yeah, that should cool it off. You just use that wire as a guide.
Yeah.
What's everybody in chat drinking tonight? Let us know. I'll type it out too, just for the late appears. So yeah, thank you, Brandon, for showing up tonight and being Jason Light.
That's right. Well, I'll do my best. I'll try to carry that torch.
This does mean you have to get really drunk.
Oh man, I'm not very good at that.
but not too drunk. I think that it's against like Facebook and YouTube's guidelines if you get maliciously and intentionally like drunk or something on.
Those are some subjective terms.
Yeah, exactly. We're industry professionals. So.
I'll do my best to not make that happen, but no guarantees.
Oh, Rye Manhattan is what Patrick is drinking. That sounds good.
Nice. That sounds good. I haven't had a Manhattan in forever. I haven't really had a mixed drink in forever. A Bloody Mary is probably the last one that I had.
Yeah, I want to say for me it was probably a mule. Or probably like a whiskey mule, Kentucky mule, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I think I had a Moscow mule a couple weeks ago. That's probably the last one I had too. So
I had I feel like I had a mule made with, gosh, what was it? It was some like non-standard ingredient, and now it's going to bug the hell out of me that I don't remember what it was. I almost want to say it was like I had it at a winery, but I don't remember what it was that I had.
There was
anyway, good scare for me.
One who was it? I want to say it's like Coppercraft or whatever. I think they're in Holland area. They do something called a Michigan mule that's made with gin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty good.
How's gin and ginger go?
Ginny would work well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd try that.
So, we brewed Sea Gump.
We did.
We brewed a freaking shrimp beer. Although I have some spoilers and I have some sad news. But before we get into it, Jordan and I decided that before we, induce a whole pound of shrimp into a beer, we should probably, do some tasting trials. And we poured out some. I think it was that Founders Red IPA, that new one. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
it's a Red IPA. It's delicious. But we poured out some of that, and we poured out some of my Oktoberfest, and we dry shrimped it while we were brewing the beer. And the results were unsatisfying.
That's putting it lightly, Brian.
Describe the unsatisfyingness.
I had my gag reflex induced.
I did too. I almost puked away from the boil kettle. That would have been a whole completely new beer this time around.
Brian Dump IPA.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I think Jordan described it best. If you can still remember how you described it on the day.
Oh. No, I don't.
It's fine. It was like drinking pond water.
Oh yeah, yep. That sounds about right.
And I didn't really think that it would be that flavor until I tried it. And I don't know if you've ever visited Woods Lake in town here in Kalamazoo. Yeah, lake water. Travis says.
Yeah,
dry shrimping seawater, lake water.
Yeah,
maybe it was Travis that described it. But so Travis was there brewing with us. Him and his wife Sam. And yeah, so we made an executive decision on the amount of shrimp to be used in the Sea Gump IPA because using that whole 1 pound bag pretty much would have made the beer like undrinkable. Like it wouldn't have even been fun for like a gag. Like I would have wanted to throw away my
It would have been a
keg.
gag.
I would have
prefer
had to
Malort.
replace my tap lines. So we ran a single shrimp through the boil and threw it away just to make sure that, at least a shrimp touched the beer. But sadly, it is going to be a pretty much coconut IPA.
Which is perfectly fine.
And it tastes and smells good. It's Sabro and bergamot hops. And we did mash with panko, though. I will have you know. Yep. So there was that, at least for the shrimp breading. We used a whole 1 pound bag of panko. I have no idea what it did. I think the OG on it was 1072. So it's going to be a pretty solidly strong IPA. Yeah. I think we're going for like 7.5%. But so sad news in that nobody will have to, potentially puke when trying this with us.
So are we switching its name? Can we call it Lieutenant Dan?
We'll think about it. It's going to be on tap at the Ross's house, so we'll let them decide, I suppose. Maybe so. Yeah.
Travis can garnish. You can garnish with a shrimp, man. That's I have flashbacks.
There was some talk about wetting and dusting the outside of a beer glass with some sort of garnish. So maybe like we can powder up some of the dry shrimp in a blender, and you can
here's an idea. Here's an idea. Just serve the beer with a side of shrimp chips that you get from like a Vietnamese restaurant.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Those are shrimp flavored like Pringles or something floating around. Like used to be able to get stuff like that at Big Lots.
You can go to Pacific Rim and get some sort of shrimp flavored chip there for sure.
Okay,
there we go.
Yeah,
we'll do that, and that'll be for the side.
We're just changing the spirit of it for the sake of everybody's taste buds.
I'm kind of glad to hear that news, to be honest with you.
So here's the thing. I mean, we did create the recipe. We formulated it on how we thought it would be best, and we failed. And that's part of homebrewing is learning from our mistakes, and brewing with shrimp is a mistake. So
yes, that is. Don't do it.
I'll make a post about it online somewhere so that if somebody Googles it one day, that post will show up, and there will just be like a giant, picture of a shrimp with a red, no symbol on top of it, and we'll be good.
Yeah, I guess we can always try. Yeah, it was like Travis saying, a new segment, beer pairings with Jordan. No, I think maybe we should do not specifically that, but do a segment of like, can we make this into beer? Shrimp is a no. So far. Although they make oyster beer, and that's disgusting too. So I don't know how they do that.
They also make Rocky Mountain oyster beer.
Okay.
Don't want that. Didn't somebody make a beer not too long ago with like whale sperm or something like that? I feel like I read or remember. No, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what you're reading, Brian, but
it would have had to have been like Dogfish Head, probably. Like because
squid ink is often used. You go there if you want nautical. Make a black beer.
I hear that sort of has that same pond water, lake water taste to it too.
What is
squid ink in a beer or something? I've never had it, so I don't know, but yeah.
It probably is gross. Yeah.
So very, very sorry to all of our loyal followers who wanted a shrimp IPA and wanted to see us essentially puke on the screen. We had to put next to it for our own good.
And thank you to the Rosses for the valuable learning experience. We saved the world from.
But we did try it. We did try what it would have been. We did dry shrimp some beer. We did drink it.
And we only had like 1 or 2 shrimps in like that glass. And
about 5 ounces.
Yeah, putting a pound in there would have been that too high of a shrimp rate. One shrimp to about 5 ounces was too much. So shrimp ratio would have been out of control.
When only exposed for a little bit, it sort of just tasted a little more salty and had more of like an aromatic, like lakey aroma. But in there for about half an hour in the beautiful fall sun heat, really did not do it justice.
So okay, I'm gonna put that first off. Our first mistake. Did we figure out what those shrimp are actually used for? Are those like for feeding turtles?
I do not know.
Like,
I don't
I
know
feel
if
like that was
Jason's watching the
aquarium
show
food.
tonight, but maybe he can
Seems
find
like-
that out for us.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
the one
you
that
on a
ordered them.
salad? Or are they not meant for human consumption? Are
We
Yeah.
ate them. We ate them dry too. We tried one and chewed it up and promptly spit it back out.
it stuck to your teeth.
It
Like,
did. It was like a gummy shrimp.
yeah, it turned into
Except
shrimp glue.
flavored gummy shrimp.
Yeah, it was just bad. Everything about it was bad. That's why, like, okay, pardon me. Maybe we should. Maybe we should try it again
terrible.
Right,
and actually buy fresh shrimp this time.
Here's what Google tells you. Actually, I should say what Google stole from healthynibblesandbits.com. Yeah.
This is pet food. We put pet food in beer. That's what
it does say to use it in like stir fries, broths, or dumplings, but it also says like this person recommends soaking the shrimp in water for 20 to 30 minutes before using it.
Or beer.
Or yeah.
Well, if you do the water, maybe you'll get some of that grossness out of it first, and then put the shrimp in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe, see, now we're getting into variations. Maybe we soak the shrimp in the brewing water first, and then just use that water to brew. It'd be like equally as disgusting, probably.
Shrimp mash.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe with a couple, but no, maybe not ever.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Maybe fresh shrimp will be better than dried shrimp. Just like dry hopping can potentially be different than dry hopping with fresh hops versus pellets. Can be different. We don't know. There's still a lot of experimentation to do here. So if anybody wants to volunteer any extra shrimp up that they have, maybe.
I was gonna say, you know what? I think we'll do it again if we get sponsored by the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Sponsor us. We'll make another shrimp beer.
Somebody forward this video to them and we'll figure it out. Or if somebody wants to volunteer their time and effort to do it on their own at their own home system, I would be more than happy to try it and give you my completely unbiased feedback.
Yeah, I'll join you there. I will. Solidarity. I can't let you suffer alone.
Yeah. If you're gonna replace your tap lines afterwards, then at least I'll give it a shot. I'll suffer through a couple ounces for you.
The old shrimpy try.
But yeah, that's all there is to say about the Sea Gump IPA brew day. We will have it kegged probably before the next show, but I don't think it'll be ready to drink by then. So I would wager potentially episode 62. Maybe we'll have the Rosses on and we'll be drinking some IPA. I wager that Jason will be feeling better by then. Hopefully none of us will be sick. Hopefully the Rosses will feel fine. I don't want to jinx anything right now just by saying it, even though it just did, but stupid is as stupid does, and that it was exactly what that brew day was.
Yeah. Yep.
Or at least the idea. So, what stupid brew thing have you done recently, Brandon? We've embarrassed ourselves beyond belief for the last 10 minutes here.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I have a couple guesses how I did it, but I did actually recently brew a red. It was supposed to be an Irish red. But then I did leave it in the fermenter longer than I normally do to give it more of an option. I was just trying it this over the weekend, I think, and it's got like some Belgian-y character to it. So like either
Oh,
Either one of two things could happen. The most likely is I also had fermented a Belgian triple in that same fermenter, which, you know, I thought I did a great job of cleaning it. It's stainless steel. There's only like one area where the silicone like O-ring is, or that it could have really happened, but you know, it's got like a slight Belgian character to it. And I was like, this is not an Irish red anymore.
You wouldn't think that there would be enough of that yeast left to even contribute that much character.
The only other option I could think of is I could have grabbed, I did pitch 2 packs of yeast for whatever silly reason, because I do that sometimes. And I could have grabbed like Lala. I think I just went with either like Nottingham or something like that. So I might have grabbed a pack of that and a pack of Abbey yeast. It's possible because I have some of that. That's the only other option I could think of that I could have done. And
what type of yeast do you generally use? Like brand wise?
I use dry mostly, so I use a lot of Lallemand and Fermentus and some Mangrove Jacks. I'm a brew. I often want to brew on the fly, or at least pick the beer I'm going to brew like right before. Sometimes the day of, often the day of. So, like I keep a lot of grain on hand and a lot of different dry yeasts on hand. I kind of like will plan ahead, like, hey, I want to brew with this type soon, so I'll order the yeast so I have it if it's something, you know, that I don't always have. But yeah.
Awesome. Sam says she is gonna garnish with shrimp. So Sam is the better half of the Ross family here that brew with us. So I think Christmas ale.
I think Travis should put some cocktail sauce in his. That way they kind of have together like a little shrimp cocktail IPA.
Breaking
Erdinger.
Dunkel.
Because you don't have enough Dunkel at home already.
I mean, I always have something like that. You know, you got to always have some sort of dark lager. That's my preference.
Something to compare it to.
Beer number 2. Classic. Sponsor us.
I haven't had any hams in my fridge in like a long time. I just keep finding stuff that I want to drink, like the Bell's Spruce Tip IPA. You can only get that in their Christmas 12 pack. So, you know, I bought it, you know, just for the 3 spruce beers, and I'm sitting here drinking, you know, all the rest of them now, like the Christmas ale and the Two Hearted and I don't remember what the other one was.
Christmas ale's one of my favorites of theirs. Yeah, I think that's got to be up there with Oktoberfest. One of my favorite Scotch ales.
It is a great one.
We, as a club, Keepers of Craft, that Brandon and Jordan are a part of as well. We had a meeting last night, and one of our club members, Gerald, brought a Scotch ale. And I hope you guys had it.
I did,
because I think that was one of my like favorite beers of last night. It was an excellent beer, and I asked him how he brewed it. And I hope I'm not like spoiling his secrets or anything like this, but I don't have the ingredient list offhand because you know, it's just hard to remember that sort of stuff. But it sounded pretty typical of a Scotch ale grist. But and so these are some tips that I like. He boiled off, I think, somewhere maybe like halfway through the mash, he pulled off, I think he said 4 gallons of wort out of his, you know, again, it's a 15-gallon batch. So, you know, for 5-gallon brewers, maybe closer to
a 1 gallon. Yeah.
Yeah. And boiled it down for, I think a good hour, he said. I think he boiled it down to 3 gallons. So he was probably boiling it for a good long while that mash was going on. I've heard when doing 5-gallon batches, boiling it down to anywhere from between like, you know, a couple cups of liquid left to almost like a syrup to maybe like a quart of liquid, just to sort of condense all those sugars, and then essentially leave that in the boil pot so that when you start your boil and stuff, you essentially, you know, are mixing in this nice warty caramely sugar. And so you're sparging with a little bit of extra water to make up for what you boiled off to kind of create that, you know, condensed flavor goodness. But that really starts to add like a lot of that caramely flavor to that style of beer. And then he said he boiled it for 90 minutes as well. So a nice long boil afterwards, just to, and this is a contentious topic, I think, a little bit. Some people argue that boiling for longer periods of time doesn't do anything except condense the sugar in the liquid more. And some people argue that it does actually add, more flavors, more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not melanoidin, but
Maillard?
Maillard reactions.
Maillard.
Yeah.
And so I'm a fan of the longer boil to create more flavor. That's the stance that I take. But I think that, a good long boil for a Scotch ale is, if not required, at least appropriate. And I mean, if your beer turns out the way Gerald's did last night, then you're going places.
I've got some time off next week. Maybe I'll try to try to get one more brew in this year. And
yeah,
I love myself a Scotch ale, so maybe I'll give it a shot.
I was thinking about doing the same thing. I was thinking about doing a wee heavy, because normally I would have a wee heavy, either on tap or bottled going into the winter, just because that fits it fits the weather for me. And I haven't done one in 2 years now. I actually got some pretty not so great feedback on one that I did a couple years ago, and it kind of made me sad. It put me off to the style as much as I love it, because I'm like, oh man, can I not really brew as a good one is what we have in stores? And you know what? I'm like, fuck it, I really like that beer, so I'm going to take a look at my recipe, and I'm going to do some comparisons to maybe some of the NHC gold medal winning recipes, and try to implement Gerald's tips and make a good beer. I don't know if I'll push 10%. I may go closer to like 8.5 or something like that.
So I usually shoot for 7.5, 8, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think the Bell's is 7.5.
I have a bottle. 7.5.
Yeah.
Boom. Nice.
And it was bottled on 10/1 this year, so October 1st. And some people also, I actually had a discussion with somebody online earlier today about Scottish beer, and they were talking about, if they could brew it in time to drink for Christmas. And I don't really think that this style of beer, oh my God, not to go off topic here.
That's what this show's about.
We're talking about Scottish beer, and that was our most failed worst episode of the show.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? We gotta revisit
so
that.
maybe we can redeem ourselves now. But what the fuck? I don't remember where I was going.
You were talking with somebody online.
Oh yeah. They were saying that they were worried they wouldn't have enough time to let the beer mature and come into its own, and I was like, man, I honestly think that these beers drink great fresh. There's very few beers that I don't keg after 2 weeks and drink immediately. And I think that a Scotch beer like this, or even a wee heavy, is probably just fine. Something with a little bit higher ABV may need a little extra time in the fermenter, but I don't know. The only thing that I really try not to rush is a Russian Imperial Stout.
I was just gonna say that anything that's got a high amount of those roasted malts, or toasted malts, those are, you want to give those time to mellow out some of those deeper flavors.
I tend to use a lot of hops in mine too, and a lot of low alpha acid hops instead of a little bit of high alpha acids, just because I think it makes a more complex beer. Maybe, I don't know, in my opinion, that's just how it plays off in my mind. But the bitterness between all those hops and the roasted malts can be overwhelming right at first, and
absolutely,
after a month or two of that kind of leveling off, it really starts to get into its own. That's another thing I haven't done recently is any sort of high ABV stout. I used to have a Russian Imperial Stout on at least once a year, and I haven't done that in 2 years. I've been brewing a lot of lagers and low ABV beers and stuff lately. What about you guys?
Yeah, I used to brew every year at this time. Beforehand, I mean, I'd usually want it ready for Christmas. I'd brew a cinnamon stout, and shit, I did that for probably 5-6 years straight. And the 1 year that I brewed it without the cinnamon, It's what I got my first medal with at the Michigan Homebrew Fest. And then I brewed it again shortly after, and just really wasn't super happy with it for some reason. I don't know what happened. I'd have to go back and check my notes, but haven't brewed it ever since. But yeah, I'm sitting here looking at all my recipes, and I was just talking. I just had on Saturday a cinnamon stout from, I want to say, the Maine Brewing Company.
Oh, did you find that in a store?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize they were distributing out here.
Yeah, it was over at Megabev over here on Oakland.
You didn't happen to see Lunch, did you?
No, they didn't. They only had cans. Lunch, I think, only comes in bottles. I have had lunch, though. I had lunch when I was out in Boston. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had another like New England style IPA called Prism, I want to say, it was like a sour New England something or other. This was like 4 years ago or so at this point. Delicious. Lunch was delicious. I had the opportunity because I think I want to say they had lunch and dinner there, and I had never heard of it at the time, so I just took the one bottle of lunch because they said that's the one that they usually sell out of faster. But anyways, picked up a cinnamon stout. I want to say it was called Toasties. Quite good. Like probably one of the best cinnamon stouts I've had. For like, it was like $3.25 or something for a 16-ounce can.
Oh wow!
Like maybe $4.
Reasonable.
Yeah, it was super reasonable for what it was. And I picked up a number of other flavored stouts because Andrew and I could not make it out to All Stouts Day. So we wanted to, or I guess it wasn't Saturday, it was Sunday. We did this yesterday. Today's Monday. Holy shit. But yeah. So I picked up a number of other like flavored stouts, and there wasn't really anything else that I could note. I won't go through which ones that I bought or what have you, but I will say that cinnamon stout from Maine Beer Company was quite good. Definitely worth it.
Look out for it. Yeah, that's sweet. I'm glad we're getting some of their beer out here. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen it. I didn't even know it was from the Maine Beer Company until I got home.
Oh,
it's either a beer trade or like one of those services where you can buy random bottles for different places online. I've had lunch once, but that was quite a while ago. So I can't even really. I remember liking it, but that's about all I remember.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, same here. Yeah. Yep.
Shoot, which from the name that toast you said for that stout makes me want to make a stout with some cinnamon toast crunch in it. Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know if I want to drink a lot of that either.
The one thing that got me on this is the reason why I picked it up. As I saw it, I was like, "Oh, what's Toasties?" I was just reading the label. I was like, "Oh, cinnamon stout." It said specifically made with Vietnamese cinnamon. I was like,
"Oh, nice."
All right, it's not just like your normal, run of the mill, cinnamon, that we have here in the U.S., which is technically not cinnamon, but regardless, it was an actual true cinnamon, and it was quite good. It was quite good. I think it clocked in at about 8.5% or so, maybe 9. I'd have to look at the can again, but it was good. I recommend it.
Look for that next one there.
I brewed, so without having ever had it, I brewed sort of what my interpretation of like a double lunch IPA would be. 3 months ago, maybe. I entered it into the Michigan State Fair competition. It took a silver in that competition, but it was a really, really good beer. It was one of the better IPAs I think that I've made in quite a while. I really liked it. And if I remember right, I think the hop combo was Centennial, Simcoe, and Amarillo in varying amounts.
Sounds like good.
Centennial for most of the bittering, which you can't go wrong. Yeah, it was totally good. In the fermenter downstairs, I'll probably be kegging it sometime in the next couple days. I have something similar going. did not have any Amarillo, and I decided that I really needed I didn't have any Simcoe, and I decided that I really needed to use up hops in my freezer, and I swapped that out for Brew One.
Okay.
It's like my last like 4 IPAs or pale ales have all just been what do I have left over?
Yeah,
That's I'm not brewing enough right now. Like I used to buy hops by the pound, and I'm not brewing enough right now to do that. So I've got a lot of leftover stuff that's honestly just getting old. I should probably toss it. And while I'm here, real quick, I'm gonna correct myself. It's not from Maine Beer Company. It's from Lone Pine Brewing Company, which is still in Maine.
Okay.
It's close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going back through and remember I was talking because as my wife and I were sharing this beer, and I was like, "Oh, they're from Maine," and then I started going off on this thing like I had this sought after beer from the Maine Brewing Company, and I guess that's where I associated it.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, set that record straight real quick. But still very good, highly recommended.
Nice.
Yeah. Shoot, I was going to say something and now I totally forgot it.
Sorry, okay. Detracted you.
No, it's totally fine. Oh, you know what it was? No, maybe it wasn't that.
Well, fuck it. Go on with
it. My whole mix-up was I made this beer, and no, I just lost it again. I've only had 3 beers tonight. Come on now. Oh, that's what it was. I made a graph, and I know this. It sounds like I'm derailing the conversation, but it links back. I put together 6 ounces of dry hops for that beer that I just talked about with the Brew One substitution, and I got some cider from Houston Farms when you brought that cider for me when we were brewing the Seacomp IPA. I thought it was Centennial. I forgot that I repackaged all of my my hops that I was going to use as the dry hop for this beer in a Centennial package and just wrapped it with a rubber band and threw it in the freezer. So I pulled it out and I'm like, oh my God, I have like 6 ounces of Centennial. This is super awesome. I was going to use this for a graph. But it was not Centennial. It was a 33 blend of Brew One Amarillo and Centennial. So that I boiled with that for like 30 minutes to create the wort for 1/5 of the liquid for my graph. So I don't know what it's going to end up tasting like. I think I'm going to buy some more Centennial to at least dry hop with before I keg it, but it's going to be potentially more like fruity than I anticipated. I don't know.
That's not going to be bad for a graph, though, man.
It may not be. Who knows?
Yeah, turn out
really,
well.
Who knows?
It'd be interesting.
So, speaking of, I guess just stupid mistakes and stuff like that. I want to say the issue that caused me doing that was brewing Seagump and day drinking all day, because I'm pretty sure that I made that wort later on into the evening, and that entire weekend was just. I mean, we started drinking at noon that day, making that beer, and excuse me, I didn't stop. After everybody left.
Oh, your shit's already out. You might as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what am I going to do? Go take a nap? And so, I decided to make more alcohol. And so then that caused that. And then the next day was All Stouts Day. So that was.
We all know how that turns out.
Yeah, it's a long weekend.
Anybody watching that has not went to All Stouts Day, do it. This is the first year I've missed, and I don't know how long, and I'm very sad. But sorry, I interrupted you, Brian.
No, you're fine. Did Brandon? Did you make it out?
I did not. I thought about going over there, and I kind of wanted to, but I ended up not getting out there in time. I was like, oh, maybe I'll sneak out there and try some leftovers that are still maybe on tap if they have some, but no. Sad.
I wish, and I guess maybe now that they're under new ownership, or will be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Well, maybe not. I guess we'll see. Well, we'll see what happens with it, but I hope and pray to the beer gods that they will eventually put a release out of the barrel-aged Bear Hug.
I still have one bottle of Bear Hug in my fridge.
They only did like one release of that?
Yeah.
It was like coconut. Well, no, Bear Hug does have coconut in it already. Yeah. It was like, yeah, Blackbeard's barrel aged Bear Hug or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one that I got a bottle of left.
Yeah. Oh, they did release it once. God damn it.
Yeah.
I must, you know what? I was probably, that was one of the like, shit, what do you call it?
General store
exclusives.
It was on Black Friday, if I remember right.
Yes, now I remember this. Yeah, I couldn't. I had family over during that time when they had it released, so I couldn't get out there and make it.
In my opinion, you're not missing out on anything.
I'll agree.
Yeah.
There were so many floaties in it, and it was super coconut.
No, I remember that. I remember that now. Yeah. Actually, I do. I do think I had that one. What is it that I'm looking for? I guess Bear Hug in general. I don't know. I love Bear Hug. It's something I look forward to every year, and it's generally only. Thanks, Brian. Anyways,
I made you lose your train of thought.
Yeah, you did. I was getting my Bear Hug.
I mean, I do remember when it came out. There was a lot of. There was like a big mix of people that were fans of it and loved it, and a big mix of people who just hated it and hated having floaties in it. So
I was on the boo floaty side.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want floaties in my beer. Like I don't. It reminds me of when we did the what was it? It wasn't the draft beer competition with Keepers. It was when they pulled ingredients out of a hat, and it was like you had to use a nut and a fruit.
Iron Brew.
What's that? Iron Brew. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And Jason's the coconut that he put in his beer did not fully, I guess, what do you say? Yes, it didn't mix properly. So you'd pour it out, and there'd be like this off-white slimy goo that would slide into your glass.
Didn't he win?
I think so.
With that goo.
It tasted great. You could taste everything though. That was the
thing. I think that, and hopefully I'm not, spoiling a trade secret here. I think he used some sort of coconut extract in that.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I mean, it was a good beer, but there are some consistency issues that I have issues with sometimes.
That's what I had with my my Bell's beer. Was supposed to be a raspberry sour, and the flavoring that I got, the flavoring syrup, I didn't like the pH or whatever, so it wouldn't mix properly within the beer. So I was like, if I took a butter knife and like stirred it up and mixed it up, it tasted great. Like it was like a nice tart raspberry sour. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that with the bottles and just give them all flat beer. Like there's nothing I could really do, I guess, outside of degas it. Because I was planning on just flavoring the bottles and using the flavoring, outside, but didn't have enough time because the brewing window is super short for the Bell's Homebrew competition. So I was like, I'm not gonna degas it, let it warm up, then how would you say, mix it up and then cool it back off and
So here's the thing, and something that I wonder, if you were to put it in the bottle and then bottle the beer on top of it and then cap it, theoretically, even if you were to like shake it up and stuff like that, the amount of CO2 that stays in the headspace is going to be limited. There's only going to be so much in the headspace there. Whether
probably a good idea.
Like just let it sit or keep it in the fridge or whatever. Like, I think that
should
could work.
Should reassimilate.
Yeah, it would, especially if you get it back cold again.
Yep. It's a good idea. Oh, well, I mean, whatever. Bell's homebrew competition is bygone. Yeah, next year. I've found that, like, I used to brew my cinnamon stout a lot for the Bell's homebrew competition as well, using their wort, and I found that always usually went decently far, further than most of my other experiments. But I don't know, just didn't have the time this year, I guess.
Yeah. I wonder how many entries we're gonna see. I think we joked about this before, but how many blueberry, beers we're gonna see next year? I don't know whether just out of spite or like. But I'm waiting for that.
We should get all the keepers together and all do blueberry beers.
It's on my list of things that I want to do. So, yes.
For those
that don't know, and I think we had this discussion. I don't remember if Ian explicitly said it when we had a show with him about the homebrew competition this year, but
pretty sure he was on air.
Yeah, he said don't brew with blueberries, but I don't know if he specifically said why. I mean, we might have talked about it since, but I guess Larry Bell does not particularly care for blueberries and has vowed to never make a beer with blueberries in it at Bell's. But now that he's retired and they're owned by
Lion.
Yeah, and whoever owns Lion, it's what's the parent company?
Lion is the parent company, I thought, and Lion owns
Kieran.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Kieran owns Lion, maybe, and then Lion owns New Belgium, something like that. It's a whole long chain of bullshit. But thank you, Ron. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll put something weird up. I hope, beyond hope, that everything stays as it is with the homebrew community. I wouldn't hate to lose them as a homebrew shop. I would hate for the homebrew competition to stop. So I'm really hoping that all that sticks around. And I know a big part of that was because of Larry's roots as a home brewer. That's sort of how Bell's started back in the 80s and stuff like that, is, him in a whatever size, 15-gallon boil kettle and something.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, we'll see.
I hope so too. I hope he didn't put some sort of clause in the contract, no blueberry beers or something like that.
Yeah, that would be. I wouldn't put it past them. I know. I would have so much respect for that. That would be really funny. Like he specifically lost out on $10 million just to make sure that they never brewed a blueberry beer or something.
Fuck you, blueberries.
Yeah. The entire blueberry market in Michigan just suffers because of Larry's hatred of a fruit. That'd be too good. Larry, if you're watching, I'm just joking. I would never make a blueberry beer and submit it to the homebrew competition. He does get on. He's been on 2 of our shows before in the comments occasionally.
It's always random.
I know. You never know. And it's always the most terrible shows too.
It is too, because the last one we were talking about, theoretically, distilling down homebrew, which, is a conversation a lot of homebrewers have when they have a batch of beer that doesn't turn out, be like, oh, I wish I could save this alcohol. None of us distill. So it's we're kind of just talking out of our ass off of what we're researching and reading online. And it's it was interesting to see him on. I can't remember what the first episode he was on was.
It wouldn't put it past me if it was our Scotch beer episode. It would just it would make too much sense. Or our first cider episode. I don't know.
We'll have to go back.
It was just Andrew Blake on that one. Yeah, we will have to go look. Hopefully, I don't know what our ability to search comments is through our admin page.
Hey, maybe now that he's not running his brewery, he said he's getting out of the business. Maybe he still wants to come on and talk about it. Come on and talk about his experience on starting one of the nation's biggest breweries,
Maybe we can teach them how to homebrew.
You know?
I bet it's been a while since he busted out a propane burner and a 5-gallon boil kettle or something.
You need to talk him into doing a homebrew session without helping, just to see how he does things.
Right.
Compared to how you
kill it. He'd kill it.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, I mean, as I guess unfortunate, or things change. Founders sold a portion of their ownership a number of years ago. People get older. I heard that one of the main reasons Larry decided he was retiring was citing some health issues. He said he's fine, which is great. I hope he continues with his good health. But you have instances like that in life that kind of make you recenter your focus. And I don't know what he's going to do with his time, but whatever he's going to do is he feels is more important. So I wish him the best in his endeavors moving forward.
Definitely.
I was talking with a few people last week, and we were trying to think of who the biggest, now independent brewery in Michigan is.
Ooh, that's tough.
And I can't remember if Short still qualifies or not.
I think they do, because I thought their partnership with PBR was only distribution, but that was a long time ago, so things may have changed there.
Yeah. Was it PBR? I thought it was,
or maybe that was New Holland.
Oh, I didn't realize New Holland did. Shoot,
I know New Holland has a distribution deal. No, off to the Googles.
No, well, I'm waiting for Ron to chime in. Ron, Ron knows Heineken.
Heineken. Okay.
Yeah. 19.99%. So I think under the Brewers Association, that's still considered independent. / the Sam Adams Association.
Well, now I'm curious on New Holland.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they had any partial ownership. I thought they were still all.
No, I don't think they have partial ownership. I think I said they have a distribution deal where whoever owns PBR, does their distribution for them.
We gotta get the Better on Draft guys in here. They tend to keep really good tabs on that stuff. Ron's the founders.
No, apparently, I'm looking on here from craftbrewingbusiness.com. New Holland. Site. Yeah, it's the first hit that Google's given me. So apparently they signed a deal. It doesn't say when, for PBR to do distribution. Just so they had national distribution of their beers. But I don't know when that was. Looks like maybe sometime around 2016.
But yeah, it's probably New Holland that's truly independent anyway still.
Actually, I do enjoy a number of their beers.
Poet is
New Holland's one of my favorite.
Good. Yeah, their beer barrel aged bourbon is stellar.
It is.
I haven't bought it in a while, but I used to keep that on hand, and
I think I've had 4 or 5 fifths of that around. So I was super excited about it when it first came out, and the first bottle that I had was phenomenal. Second bottle I bought didn't really taste like much. It was just kind of like it was very hot. It was almost like unfinished vodka. It was it didn't taste right. Second bottle I bought was also the same way, because I bought one right after that. And I don't know if they just had a bad batch or something, or bad period where they were redoing their formulations. But then not that long ago, probably sometime around the beginning of the pandemic, I saw that they had the Beer Barrel Bourbon Rye and I love myself some rye
Pardon
whiskey.
me?
Rye. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. They have a
Okay.
rye version. And since I was like, okay, well, I bought the rye bottle and we tried that, and I was like, and that was amazing. So the next day I immediately went out. Oh, bye, Brandon.
Brandon said he bounced for a sec.
Yeah. Immediately went out the next day and bought the normal bottle just so I could have them back to back. And that secondary bottle was also phenomenal. And then after I finished those two, I went out and bought another of the normal bottle. And
this is all within like a week, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. but yeah. So I would highly recommend trying that out. I have not tried their Knickerbocker gin though, and I am getting back into gin. So I'm curious to try that.
I've got a bottle, some of a bottle left from that. I've had it for a couple of years. So
of the gin,
yeah, it's pretty good.
Good.
Are you guys like straight gin drinkers, or do you tend to do like martinis or
gin and tonic for me?
Yeah, I mean, gin and tonic would be my favorite thing, but that said, there is some. I will say, I'll give a shout out to Kalamazoo Distilling. Is it their Bronson Park gin is good for just sipping. Like that's what I like that one for.
Okay.
It's a barrel aged one, so it's like it does have like, if I remember it. Actually, I have a bottle of it. I'm gonna just grab it that way I can not guess.
Yeah. Share it with us through the stream. We need this technology.
But yeah, Kalamazoo Stillhouse, Bronson Park Gin. Anyways, here's the bottle.
Now, are they distributing, or did you buy that down at the?
Yeah, you buy it right from them.
Okay.
I have not been there yet.
They might distribute to some local places, but like this stuff is, I mean, for instance, batch 1, bottle 237.
Wow.
That's kind of nice. Let's see what they say about it. But it is, I mean, this is some good sipping gin in my book. Yeah. So it depends on the gin. Like for gin and tonic, I'm perfectly happy with throwing some Seagrams, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
I had last time my wife and I were up in Traverse City, we stopped at it wasn't the Traverse City Distilling Company. I can't remember what it was. It's on the main strip. I hadn't seen it there before. It had been a year or so since we've been up there, so I don't know if they were like brand new, but they had a gin. They had a barrel-aged gin like what you had, but they didn't have any on hand, so I didn't get to try it. But their standard gin was very interesting and unique. It was like a higher amount of I guess I'll say a lower amount of like juniper that they put in there, so it wasn't quite as piney as what you would normally get. It almost had more of a floral and citrusy notes to it, so they kind of boosted a lot of the other botanicals while they were doing their distilling. So it was very, very interesting. It was pretty good, and I could see that, poured on just some rocks. And I'm usually a neat drinker, but I do feel like, with some gin, that'd probably be pretty good with. There you go. It's got a nice color to it.
It does.
Hey, this is a good episode. Somebody's already into liquor.
Yeah, normally that doesn't happen unless we get like Drew Jacobs on, or Jason's having a particularly rough day.
Then he starts breaking out the 10 and 12% stouts out of his cellar.
I need to start doing that. I mean, so back when I first started, really getting into craft beer, I became a bit of a hoarder. I would seek out, those sort of beers that you kind of sit on and age for a little bit. And, I'd be out there getting, all the Goose Island variants and sitting on them and stuff like that. And now I have all these beers downstairs that they might even be past their prime. Just it's the stupidest thing. Like I need to either start drinking these or sharing them with people or giving them away or something. I should have drank them like a long time ago, and maybe this becomes Brian's like rant segment of the night, but I very much am becoming a fan of drinking the majority of the harder to find beer sooner than later. Maybe with the exception of like stuff that is highly sought after, whatever, like Beer Barrel Time or something. But yeah, I don't know. I've been busting open occasionally some of the older stouts that I have downstairs, like even older like Black Notes and stuff like that, and I think they would have been so much better a couple of years ago. And I'm just like, oh, this is stupid.
They
like,
are.
Why am I doing that?
They are. I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure you and I have shared a few different verticals. And I've done it a number of times with, other people who are really big in the beer trade. And, maybe it's just my personal preference, but almost every single time, save, I think one or two verticals, maybe KBS, that I've had of some of the variants, but almost every single time the younger the beer, the better it tastes to me. Like there's more flavor, there's more depth, there's more going on in the beer. And if I didn't enjoy that newest one, it was the previous year. Like, I've never had a vertical where I'm like, oh, I really like this version that's aged 5 years or something like that. It's like, no, it's like, okay, so we got the 2021 version, and I kind of like the 2020 version just a little better, and it's hardly better, but it's never been like, oh yeah, I like this older version a lot better. I feel like, after it's aged for 5 years, it's not quite like, wine or mead or anything else. Like specifically, I feel like, because a lot of those are still like you don't I don't know if if it's carbonated, drink it. It's good. It's gonna be better fresh. Maybe a few months old, up to a year, maybe. But but I'm like you. I've actually got some of the bourbon counties from you. You've gifted me a few, so I think I've got 2 or 3. I think I've got 2 from you, and then I bought one just to get a 3-year vertical, and I've just sat on it. Now I've got a vertical of Expedition. I think I've got 4 years of that. And I think Black Note, but that's it. And it's just more or less like, I just don't, it's more sentimental at this point. Like, I don't want to drink them because it's like, I like it. Like, I like having those years, but at the same time, like every time I'm in my cellar, I'm looking at them, like those are not getting better. Like, but I
don't really want to drink that by myself.
Yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
kind of where I'm at.
Like, I don't want to have 10% stouts and just hate myself the next day.
Good points. Yeah.
But that's just me. Somebody else might think completely different.
I do have some sours that I'm sitting on, and I don't think that those are necessarily the same.
No, it's the pH is different, so they're going to age a little differently.
Yeah.
We had that really old beer episode where we were drinking the some of the eccentric ales and some of the expedition stouts from like the 1990s from Bell's in the early 2000s, and a lot of those beers just ended up tasting the same, like kind of cardboardy and not all that good. I think there was like one exception with one of the expedition stouts that I was like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty good. But I mean, and that's going to an extreme. We're talking 25 plus years, but
right.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you remember like those beers, Jordan? I think that we maybe had like.
I was not there for that episode.
Weren't you in Jason's basement?
Yeah, it was David. David was with you guys. I wanted to be there, but
I thought it was the 4 of us. What was the other episode of Jason's basement that you were there for?
We did. That was a cellar clean out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's where I brought a bottle of water.
Oh yeah, yeah, I was there. I remember that.
Because I didn't have the box labeled. I was just like, just grab the bottle out of there. I'm like, all right.
That was cellar water.
Yeah.
Why did you bottle water?
So I did a pop bar for my brother-in-law's wedding. So it was kind of like Italian soda, if you will. So I brought my kegerator and we were mixing. They had soda syrups and whatnot. And we were mixing stuff on the fly there. But I don't recall us. I was like, okay, well, it's non-alcoholic, so it's not like we're cutting people off. So I don't know how much people are going to have. I had zero confidence that 4 kegs will, which is approximately about 200 glasses, was going to be enough. So I bottled 4 kegs of carbonated water and had 4 kegs.
Okay.
So, and it turns out that 4 kegs was more than enough. So then I just came back with 200 bottles of carbonated water as well. And we've just been we still have some. I still have like 2 whole cases, and that's been like 6 years or something like that. Like we just occasionally pop one open and
You're
feel
just
like
a prepper.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. At this point.
So when we're doing the hard seltzer episode next week, you're not gonna, fuck us over, right? And drink some of that instead.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Man.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? 4 Giants is super good. I really like that beer.
I do not know if I've had 4 Giants.
Yeah, I think it comes in 4 packs. He'll have to tell me if I'm wrong on that, but I do really like it. Ron was out doing some
spitting out the
research.
facts.
Yeah. So he says in 2020, Founders had the most volume brewed in Michigan. Bell's was number 2 and number 1 for Michigan owned. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Founders is owned by a Spanish company. I want to say Miguel something.
Yeah.
San Miguel. I think
San Miguel. That's it.
Yep. That's exactly it. Last I read too, I think roughly half of their production goes into making all day IPA too, which is just like absolutely insane. Like, and I'm sure something very similar is true with Bell's. If anybody listening to the show has not done a Bell's tour, go do one. It's I don't want to say life changing, but it's just like you get a whole new appreciation for how large a batch of beer you can brew at a time is. When you see that the fermenters that they use to ferment Two Hearted, like
stick through the roof.
Yeah. You can't actually look up high enough to see the top of these things.
What are they like? Is it 800? It's 800 barrels, isn't it?
I think that might be right. Yeah.
Something, and they have like 26 of them, and they're constantly going through.
And just to do it with the consistency, that they do. Like, how do you brew 800 barrels of beer, day to day potentially, and have it taste the same?
What, 800 times 32 or whatever.
Yeah, I've never had a Two Hearted that tasted different. It's always Two Hearted.
Yep.
Like they do such a good job picking out their Centennial and stuff. It's insane. It's absolutely insane for the volume that they put out and the quality that it is. It's every bit as good as like Bud Light or Miller Lite in terms of their day to day consistency. Yeah,
I think my favorite little tidbit from that learning. I'm not. You learn, like, if you get a chance to go do a tour, as Brian said over here, go do it. It's amazing. Like, the brew facility they have is gorgeous. And if you've never been in a facility that does that amount of throughput, it's amazing to see. But I was amazed that I think it was the little tidbit that they say that Michigan alone goes through one of those fermenters a day or something like that.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah.
I
think we are the, of course, absolute majority of that consumption of that beer. But yeah, we fucking crush that beer.
It fuels us,
It does.
But that's insane. We're like Michigan's drinking 800 barrels of Two Hearted every single day. That's just an insane. That's an insane amount of drinking, and
I know it's probably not something they should be laughing about, but
Well,
yeah.
wear it like a badge, Brian.
I always go back to it. Like I'll buy other, if I'm looking for my more crispy IPAs out there, it's not non-hazies. It's the one, it's the gold standard. And every time I try someone else's, it's never as good as Two Hearted. Like it could be great, but man, Two Hearted just is. It's just
stand by. It's consistent. You're getting a good beer. You get a good hop flavor. It's good body. It's got a decent amount of sweetness. Like that's it's a crowning achievement. It's a great beer. We were talking about production with founders, and we talked about New Holland earlier. And I remember talking to the guys at New Holland a while ago when they were first opening up. They were looking at like doubling their capacity for brewing. And this was years ago. This was before their PBR deal. And as they were building their new brew house, or at very least getting it up to code to actually brew in, the demand for Dragon's Milk had increased so much to where they had to dedicate that entire facility to just doing Dragon's Milk. And then they had to figure out where they're going to brew all their other beer to fill the other demands. It's like that's a great problem to have, but that's I guess a tricky, something you have to navigate as being a brewery owner. When you have a spike in demand on something like that, you have to fill it, and that's what they had to do.
As I understand it too, you have to meet the demands of your distributor as well, or else that they can potentially like remove you from your contract with them. So if and I don't know exactly how it works because I'm not in the industry, but as I understand it, there were some obligations to make a lot more beer, which is part of why they had to like expand so fast and stuff like that, to meet those obligations. And now that the demand is lower, they have a lot of this equipment to make like big batches of beer, but they may not necessarily be selling it as fast. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of a really shitty situation.
Interesting. Are you talking about New Holland specifically?
Oh, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought we were talking about Old Nation. I totally misheard that. I was typing something into chat and I no.
No, but that's still 100% relevant. That's a wonderful thing to bring up.
And I'm gonna hate being like if I'm like spreading rumors here or something like that. But I know that Old Nation, and they've talked about this, was not in a super good place for a while. They were potentially closing and stuff before they really put a ton of effort into creating M43, and obviously it was a great success. But it was such a success that I think potentially like I don't know who their distributor is, maybe like InBev or something like that, or Imperial. But I think that they put a lot of pressure on Old Nation to create more beer because they were getting pressure from the outside to distribute it, and they're like, well, we don't have any because Old Nation can't make it fast enough. And so Old Nation's like, well, okay, we have to expand and make more. And then they did. They freaking upped their production like mad. I think they even have a production facility in Detroit now. But, obviously M43 isn't quite in demand right now. I think, obviously I don't have the numbers, but it doesn't feel like it's quite as in demand as it was, a couple of years ago.
A lot more competition.
Yeah, especially with all the new competition and stuff like that. But
I feel like that happens with just about any how would you say? I don't want to call it a fad style because it's not, because it's here to stay. But you have that novelty push where demand gets super high, and then when you have something that's once you have like a pinnacle that comes out like M43, at least locally, it kind of floods the market. People try a lot of other stuff, and I think one thing will come out on top, and a little bit of the fervor dies down.
Yeah, I remember making a trip out to Old Nation like before they distributed it, and going there just because I'd heard so much buzz about it, and it did live up to the buzz at the time. You roll up there, try it, and like that was, I think, the first real New England I had that I didn't have somebody send to me that I knew was fresh, right from the source.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're Old Nation now and you have like all these huge ass systems, and again, I don't know what their sales are like, these days, but if you have the ability to brew all this beer, but you're not selling it fast enough, like what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially something like a New England that that you can't sit on that. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's still going to be beer, but it's not, it's not going to hold on to those, fruity esters as long. That's definitely a type of beer that needs to be consumed quickly.
Yeah. I want to point out again that this is all theoretical. I don't know, none of this is particularly fact in my mind. It's just all hearsay and stuff like that. But I can empathize, I guess, with essentially having like a huge production facility and then not necessarily having the demand to use it. So who knows? I hope that everything's good with them though, because they certainly deserve it. Ron mathed out some stuff for us. So I put in chat a couple minutes ago, asking if anybody wanted to do the math on 800 barrels a day divided by Michigan's population, and it looks like it's about half ounce per person per day, which sounds about right. I mean, imagine, you divide that by, or you multiply it, I guess, by 24. And, I guess 1 out of every 24 Michiganders is having like maybe a bottle of Two Hearted a day, or, multiply that by 32, and it's 1 out of every 32 Michiganders is having a pint of Two Hearted a day or something. So it doesn't seem too unreasonable. I don't know. Maybe it does. I guess I don't know, because that population maybe doesn't include the just over 21 crowd too. So maybe that's actually even a little low.
Yeah, I was just actually trying to quick math out the over 21 because I was thinking you probably did the whole population.
Yeah, and I didn't think about that when I asked the question. So,
what's that? What do we?
Well, we're saying that Ron mathed out my question just as I asked it. Roughly good. A half ounce of Two Hearted per person per day in Michigan consumed. Oh, there, Ron.
Yeah.
Nope, I think that's. Yeah, there you go. Good job, Ron.
Yeah, that's. So if I'm looking at that math properly, does that mean there's more people over the age of 21 than there are kids, which essentially means our population is going down?
Oh, the population in Kalamazoo Portage especially is mostly elderly people. Like the elderly people that's why you'll see a boom of like retirement homes and like assisted living homes cropping up here, because number of older folks here.
Here, you heard it here. This is not Michigan investing. If you need to put some money into something, there you go.
Oh yeah,
but 70% is over 21. Okay, right. That seems 21 isn't. I mean, is childbearing age, but I guess there's still time. I know overall, I'm getting way off topic here, but I know overall, they're anticipating that the world's population is actually going to curb down a little bit for the first time in however many centuries, because people just aren't having kids as much.
A quarter of Michigan residents are over 60.
Whoa!
So,
wow.
Yeah. So there's a good amount.
Welcome to our city, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for those of you watching the show that don't know, we're in the Southwest Michigan area. So Kalamazoo, Portage, Matawan, all those sort of areas. So
Yep.
So thank you all for doing the math for us. Before we start wrapping up tonight, I have some other news. I guess I should share. I think either last week or the week before, last show or the show before, because I know we're times only doing every 2 weeks here. I mentioned that I had sent off some beer to Dr. Homebrew.
Yes.
Which, if you guys don't know, is a show / podcast on the Brewing Network, where they have, I think both the Bryans are Grandmaster judges. They take beer that people aren't particularly happy with, or really whatever they want to send. I think they do like shit like kombucha, like if you want to send it, and they'll do like a judging for you, and talk to you on stream about the beer and stuff like that. So I had a Chuck Bills that I brewed that I got some very particular feedback on. From Homebrew Club members and from a competition and from friends, all stating one particular flavor that I don't want to spoil. So I'm going to be interested to see like if I get that on the show tomorrow. Excuse me. And see if I can get some advice on how to fix it. So the show is tomorrow, like I just said. I think they're going to live stream at around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. They're on Pacific time, so it's like 7:30 for them, which is why that is so late for me. But if they don't live stream, then you will definitely be able to watch it later on YouTube and listen to it on their podcast. Again, it's Dr. Homebrew, and it's on the Brewing Network. You can find it, subscribe to it. It's a great show. Ryan, yes, it is on YouTube. If you just search for Dr. Homebrew, it should show up. I think they have over 200 episodes now, and it's good listening if you are just like working on something and just want some like background noise. Everybody on the show is like super fun. They have some great banter. It's over 21, it's adult talk. So it's not like they're not swearing and stuff like that. So I will try to share the show to the page tomorrow if I see it pop up, but otherwise, maybe try to catch it live. But I don't know if they do comments and stuff quite like we do, but it could be fun to watch.
Definitely. I'm gonna try to remember that.
Yeah. Besides that, you guys have anything else for tonight? Or I know we're coming up on 90 minutes here, and we have our show next week that we have to start prepping for right now. So I gotta get that liver primed for all that seltzer.
Yep, that's gonna be. I had to give my wife a warning just to let her know this is gonna be my first seltzer episode.
Week warning. Next week's gonna be effed up.
Yep.
We don't necessarily know, but I think I'm gonna have like 10 on hand just in case. I don't know how long the show's gonna go on for, but the last show I think I ended up like half naked on the couch afterwards. And, like,
during the show,
Shayna couldn't get me out. Couldn't get me off the couch.
Sorry, I was about to make a comment about that, but I didn't want to offend Shayna.
There's a different website you can subscribe to see that.
I'm looking over at the door here. I'm just waiting for her to come around the corner and stare at me. But
but no, I think next week's supposed to be good. Like I said, we're gonna sit around, shoot the shit. It's gonna be a lot like this, but more people. More seltzer, I don't know. It's going to be fly by the seat of our pants. We'll see what happens. Very nice. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
I'll be enjoying watching y'all get shit faced.
Oh no, you're invited to be on the show for a little bit. We're gonna Shanna, she's super happy.
Hey, there's a Jason. He's alive.
All right.
Oh, damn it.
We're fighting.
Boom.
He lives. More seltzer. More. Yep.
So
I did not get to brew a seltzer like I had planned on, but I'll go out and buy as much as I feel I need.
If memory serves, Jason still has some undiluted, maybe like 10% seltzer at his house. So maybe we can bug him for some homebrew. I don't know. He'll have to tell us. I'll hang out here for a sec to see if he comments and says whether he does or not. But yeah, we're gonna get that Bud Light seltzer and the Coors seltzer. And
what's your favorite seltzer brand so far?
I think that we like Truly better than White Claw.
That's mine. Oh, it's 12%, and he still has it.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, no, I'm on the Truly bandwagon. I do like the Odd Sides seltzers. We had Odd Side on here not that long ago, and he gave us one of their seltzers prior to being released, which was really cool. Having some unreleased stuff on show was awesome. And yeah, I've had a few of their other seltzers, so if I can find some of them, and they make, if I recall, they kind of holding true to Odd Sides. They have some very unique flavors.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall exactly what those were, but they did have some interesting flavors that were coming out. You can find them in 6-packs just about anywhere.
I'll check to see if they got the rum ham flavor.
Yeah,
there we go.
Some mashed potato and gravy seltzer.
Yes.
Sweet potato pie seltzer. Who came out with the pumpkin pie seltzer? Was that Bud Light?
Probably. That sounds about right.
Do you guys remember when Jones Soda used to put out holiday packs of their soda? They used to have flavors like that, like turkey soda and stuff like that, like
shrimp soda.
Not quite that bad, I guess, but yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's next. The shrimp seltzer. We got all this shrimp that we need to use.
Yes. Ooh, there's a Moscow Mule seltzer, Mojito seltzer from Odd Side. Those I might have to try to search out. Those sound interesting.
Ryan, I do want to say I appreciate this dad joke. Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna steal it.
Ryan, for the podcast listeners, he said, "Just heard a dumb joke. When you excel, they spread sheet about you."
Well, Ron's gonna steal that one too. He likes dad jokes.
It's like an IT dad joke. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Brandon, for joining us tonight. Everybody else, spread the word about next week. I will post the show in probably like 5 minutes after we end this, because now it has been more than it's now within the 7 days for that Facebook lets me post shows. So share that around. We would love to have a ton of people watch the show and party with us. We'll get invites going out to people. Brandon, hopefully you can make it back next week and chug a seltzer too with us. And yeah, it's going to be a great old time.
I think we can make it work.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, cheers, everybody. And for all 6 of you that are still watching the show, appreciate you. And have a good night, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.